Digital really seems to be the buzzword of late, with everyone from a TCS to an Mphasis really laying their bets on this space. But how does one tech company distinguish itself from another when it comes to the digital foray? I caught up with one such company, Mphasis, and I was in conversation with its CEO, Ganesh Ayyar, but began by asking him about a slightly different topic, one that has refused to die down of late, that of HP selling its stake in the business. Listen.
See, I have been the CEO for the last 7 years, and almost the entire first 3 years of my tenure, I fielded the question that HP is going to buy the remaining stake of 40%, and Mphasis is going to be captive of HP. That was my first 3 years. Then the last 4 years has been about HP is going to sell the remaining 60%. At least this rumor has, in a big way, I have found this rumor, being confronted with this rumor in the last 4 years, at least 6 times, if not more. And every time there are details provided that A is bidding, B is bidding, C is bidding. There was another rumor saying that Ganesh Ayyar is bidding for the remaining 40% stake of HP backed by PEs. And I had to defend myself with my wife. She said, I didn't know that you were bidding for this project. I said, even I didn't know. After I read the news, I got to know that I'm bidding for this project. So my point is, these rumors keep coming. If it is going to happen for real, it will happen. So no point in being worried about something which hasn't happened.
Will it change things, however, for you at Mphasis if HP were to exit?
Why would it change in any shape and form? We have kept our shareholding and our business very clearly distinct. HP has been really professional about it. They don't give us business because we are they majority own it. They give us business because we bring value. Our business with HP is declining because we as Mphasis haven't found the secret sauce to arrest the decline and bring it back. So this has nothing to do with shareholding. Now, if at any point of time either HP decides to buy or sell, regardless, our focus on generating business will continue. Why should we worry about these kind of things? Yes, as a human being, mind does wander. I'm sure my employees are reading this very news that you're talking about. Our customers are reading that news. My leaders are reading that news. And as a human being, this thing can interrupt. But as far as I'm concerned, my focus is to make sure that Mphasis generates differentiated value for my clients, being in the path of relevance of my clients, being successful in digital, GRC, new generation infrastructure services and application services. And rest of it, if it so happens, doesn't matter.
But the contract that you have with HP comes up for renewal in February?
That's right.
Okay. You were just talking about, the secret sauce in terms of your revenue from HP that has been declining steadily quarter on quarter for a few years now. What are you doing to staunch that flow?
Sunda, it has been one of the toughest, secret sauce to uncover. I have been at it personally for the last 4 years. Ultimately, whatever solution we give to HP has to be sustainable. And has to be good both for Mphasis and HP. Solving that problem, which is unidimensional, by just saying it either benefits completely Mphasis or completely benefits HP, will not solve the issue. And that has been the challenge that we are trying to balance. What is good for my client, HP? What's good for Mphasis? If we find the right balance, we will crack that code. Hasn't been easy. I have 4 years to prove that we have not managed to crack it. But even this week, I have been in discussion with decision makers within HP to see whether we can crack the code. The moment we crack the code, it would be shared with the wider audience or with the street, and you will get to know.
How does a company of your size really stay relevant to consumers when you have much smaller companies that are going out and being all aggressive where pricing and discounts are concerned?
Actually, it's good to have competition, because it takes out complacency out of your success. And we have absolutely zero scope for saying last quarter was good, so this quarter should automatically be good. because the market is changing rapidly, our customers are changing rapidly. So the smaller, nimbler players keep us honest and focused, which is good. Just like they are coming after us, we are going after bigger players. So there is a huge opportunity. I'm not too concerned about competition because that is always a way of life. My focus is how do I help my customers to go through this duality, right? Digital and analog. It is no more, people think that you just switch it off and digital will happen. That's not the way companies succeed. You need to straddle between the two. You need to manage the duality. So I'm fairly confident the intensity with which we are focusing on our customers will take us to greater height. And for that, today, tomorrow, every day we have to go back thinking that what did I do which is bringing value to the customer in a relevant way. We have done it, but that is no guarantee that we will continue to do it. It has to happen every day. My team members, my leaders, people who are just interacting, the delivery person, the salesperson, everyone has to be enthused about making that happen. Not easy, but it is very rewarding.
I know you've changed your organizational structure to ensure that you identified your top 16 customers and you're increasing the engagement with that. That's a model that also, say, for example, in Mphasis has done. Have you started seeing the revenue uptick already from that?
Absolutely. I mean, last 1 year has been phenomenal with that group. We call it strategic accounts. I must tell you that we have grown multifold in market growth rates compared to market growth rate in that segment. And my goal is the CEO office not to handhold, because the moment of truth is at the ground level. And I'm hoping that I can go and play golf while these things are happening, because people at the ground level should feel enthused and empowered that they don't need to consult me or my leaders for any decision that they need to make. If you have to do something which is going to make their customer successful, do it. Don't look for permission, because you don't need that permission. I mean, and we have very, very good people. As a smaller company anyway, the hierarchy is very short. And I spend 2 weeks every month because 75% of our business comes from the US. I spend 2 weeks here. What do? I mean, I'm actually with my troops because they are the ones who are making us successful. As a CEO, I'm an overhead, and I need to make sure that we make these individuals successful.
You recently sold your India outsourcing business. What's the India strategy then looking like?
See, I'm not making based on geography where I want to focus. India has been a focus and will continue to be, but there are a couple of businesses that we felt that it is not part of our strategic roadmap. You just quoted the domestic BPO voice business. There was another business which we basically did an organic shutdown, which is doing business with the government. Because the issue is whether your rhythm matches the rhythm of that business. As a leadership team, if you start focusing on too many different rhythms, you are not becoming an expert. So we found that this is not matching, so we have done away with it. There are a couple of more such businesses that we would ensure that they are kind of ring-fenced. We don't dump those customers. We take care of our employees. We do it in a positive fashion. And our core focus would be in following areas: digital, governance, risk and compliance, new generation infrastructure services, new generation application management services. And BPO will bring combination of this to bring value. So we will move, the whole idea is to inject automation, to bring artificial intelligence, to bring robotic process automation, even if that means that we have to cannibalize our own business, so be it.
You've spoken about what the core areas are going to be for Mphasis. What are the non-core areas looking like? Yeah,
so there are a couple of those, and by announcing them in the media, I will be doing disservice to my employees, my clients, and the shareholder. Stay tuned. We have a roadmap, and the good news is, Sunanda, that we are executing like clockwork. We had decided by this time frame we need to kind of exit these businesses. That has happened. And this was the roadmap that we developed an year ago for 3 years. We are entering that phase where we will do the 3-year rolling map plan again. And my board has been very focused and consistent. And that's an important thing which I'm blessed with as a CEO. Because if you keep changing your strategy every day based on one quarter or the other, you are not building an organization which will sustain. So we will go through that plan. There is a roadmap. I don't see a radical change in roadmap coming because it's a good roadmap. And we will execute. So there are a couple of businesses which, I believe will not be part of our strategic roadmap.
A lot of companies now are talking about startups and incubators within the company, and that's something you're doing as well. How critical is that going to be for your future growth strategy?
See, two things will define success for any company, in whether you're, even IT services company. One is building a culture of experimentation. Second is a culture of co-creation with your involving your customers. Now let's talk about culture of experimentation. When you have $1 billion revenue engine running, what are the chances that this engine will accommodate experimentation? Not very high, because quarter by quarter numbers have to be stacked up. So how do you inject the culture of experimentation? Every company has bright people. Every company has bright ideas. The question is, how do you allow these people to experiment with those bright ideas rather than suppressing them? So we are encouraging a model where people can come up and say, okay, here is a bright idea. It has to go beyond the idea. They need to have a plan, right? And then we will back them. That's exactly what we have done with Next Angles. 3 individuals came up to me and said, there is a very intelligent way of solving the regulatory compliance issue, which goes beyond the normal, human-heavy model. So I said, it seems like a good idea. Can you put it together? And they did put it together. And now we are backing it like a startup. But it is within the company. So I call it a cartup model rather than a startup model. I am going to encourage that big time, because I think that's what will change Mphasis. And I'm fairly confident that the Next Angles experiment will find success, because we are seeing early signs. Second thing which we are experimenting with is coming out with co-creating products with our clients. So Dr. Ganesh has been brought into the company as the head of Mphasis Next Labs. They have come out with 2 products. One is called Hypergraph, the other one is called Infragraph. A very interesting product. Now, it is possible that some of them may fail. That's so be it. But we will keep experimenting, because that's what is going to be the culture that the organization will have. And these models support that culture of experimentation, culture of co-creation. And we are ready to do more.
Recently, Mahindra said that mobility as well as self-driving cars really are going to be the future, and that Tech Mahindra is going to play a very crucial role in that. Would that be an area that you would possibly look at?
See, ultimately you need to understand where is the core of your company, which industry vertical knowledge you are blessed with. And once you realize that, you need to double down around that core. I cannot pretend to be Tech Mahindra. And I'm sure it is a fantastic opportunity for them, otherwise they wouldn't have mentioned it. Because their core may be automotive, because after all, Mahindra is in automotive business themselves, and Tech Mahindra can leverage that automotive expertise that Mahindra Group has. So, autonomous cars or driverless cars, these are connected cars, various terms are being thrown up, is a huge, I'm sure it's a huge opportunity for Tech Mahindra. We are a company blessed with deep focus in banking, capital market, and insurance. Do I want to copy someone else who is good in automotive segment and pretend to do this automotive? No, I don't want to. There's tremendous opportunity in banking, capital market, insurance. And I'm going to be the best at it, and by doubling down. So I'm not going to copy anybody else, not just Tech Mahindra, anybody else. We will do what we are good at, and we will bring innovation and digital, GRC, all of that to our clients.
I was asking you previously about exiting your non-core businesses. I know you don't want to go into details, but could you give us a timeline? Would you look at it in the last quarter of this fiscal, or at least in the next fiscal?
It's too hard to predict because these kind of transactions take time. This quarter, if you're referring to fourth quarter, which ends in March, most unlikely. But if it happens, it happens.
My last question really to you is, the government is going all out to promote Digital India and Make in India, and it says that Indian IT, of course, is going to play a large part of that piece. Do you think that the government really needs to realign or reassess its strategy, given the fact that, you just spoke about losing money on most of the government contracts you've been involved in?
Of course, they have to take a reality check. Even otherwise, they have to take a reality check. Now, I wasn't saying that we don't make money out of India. It is just that it is not in our rhythm. Now, if India-listed companies become successful in digital world across the globe, that is Digital India, isn't it? Why should it be just Digital India in the context of boundaries? We keep calling all the Indian companies and India companies. But when it comes to digital success, and with 90% of their revenue coming from outside India, and when it comes to digital success, we want to kind of constrain it and make it happen in India. We want to make sure that every employee of our company is enthused, experiments, embraces new ways of doing business, embraces automation, and we become successful in a global market. With 90% of our revenue coming from outside India, our focus is to be successful across the globe in those customers that we are focused on in digital, not trying to be everything to everyone.
Take a break. On the other side, we tell you what Mphasis is doing in the incubator or startup space and why the knowledge-assisted business of the IT industry could be making a comeback. KPO, or knowledge process outsourcing, was all the buzzword in 2006-2007. But while it didn't take off, Mphasis Next Angles, a company it has incubated to offer products under BFSI, is taking the game up one notch and focusing on the knowledge-assisted side of the business.
In a brief way, Next Angles is an artificial intelligence-driven solution for regulatory compliance for BFSI industry. I do believe that industry has to move towards a knowledge-assisted model rather than a KPO, for the very simple reason that your experts are always scarce, right? And when you do only KPO, you need experts, and you have only that many experts in any field, right? But when you have knowledge-assisted KPO, if you will, then you will need fewer experts, or a particular expert will become more productive.
While the IT industry has stepped up its focus on digital, will this not mean an impact on jobs?
Finding those niches and making sure that you're skilled in that, the current people will benefit. And there will be a part of people that will not be able to make the scale up to the other, or will not be able to move to this. We'll have to figure out what we do with them, right? Because they will be the losers at the end of it. Is it going to happen overnight? No. But I think over the next 5 to 7 years, that's a real problem that we face in India, because we're today hiring large armies of engineers, right? And that's going to change. And I think that's something that we should be worried about and figure out how we address it at the school and the college level rather than at the company level.
This could, however, help it in an area where it is least expected, that of dealing with the backlash on visas.
I don't think it's going to go away as long as you're in the global economy. As long as there's concerns about unemployment and proper employment in the local economies, it'll become a political issue, right? And I think the noise ratchets up every time there's an election, either in India or in the US. We're saying, listen, we're in this community, we're in this economy. it is important that we address the key issues. Key issues is, are we hiring enough locals? Are we participating in the communities to make sure we're providing employment at a very altruistic level, right? At a very practical level, we're probably one of the few companies that 49% of our employees in the US are US citizens, permanent residents, or lawfully permitted residents, right? So can we use that opportunity to get better? And one of the reasons that I'm now based out of the States is to build our hiring engine. Now we're going to colleges all across the US to start building what we did in India, the Fresh from College grad program. Can we build the same Fresh from College grad program here? Can we start building out some of our nearshore centers with folks that come in with this? And need not necessarily be from your best universities. We're finding that there's great talent available in the community colleges.
Coming up, at a time when everyone is talking digital, what is Mphasis doing in this space? Stay tuned. Focus on automation in digital is increasingly becoming critical for companies as they battle newer and smaller entrants who are fighting the market share war on pricing, but this could come at the cost of cannibalizing its own revenues.
So I call it not just cannibalization, the word is auto-cannibalization. Cannibalization is eating other human beings, but auto-cannibalization, you're cannibalizing your own revenue. And absolutely yes. And if we don't cannibalize, somebody else is going to come and cannibalize our revenue. And the reason why it's important for us to look at this aspect is the place that we can be more successful is where we have the most knowledge about the customer. And where do we have the most knowledge of the customer? Where we're doing actual work for them. And in some cases, we know more about the customer's customer in certain specific areas where delivering the work than the customer himself. So that gives us an added advantage. Recently, for a large insurance company, we were delivering a particular process with around 400 people. We went back to them and said, look, we think based on the technology that we have seen in the marketplace and automation, we can reduce it to 200 people. And it was a win-win for both the customer and us, because from our perspective, it has given us opportunities into other areas of automation that the customer has not seen before. From the customer's perspective, they gain value from a true partner. And I think that's very important for us. We don't publicly disclose, talk about what changes that we expect in the margin, but we expect the margin to profile to change over a period of time, next three to 5 years.
We started the show talking about the digital push on the part of the tech industry. And while globally there definitely seems to be a buy-in, in India, the picture is slightly different. For example, if you talk about government projects, a few months ago we had heard comments from Narayana Murthy, who said that Mphasis has lost money on every government project it has been involved in, a sentiment being echoed by Mphasis. As far as corporate participation and corporate enthusiasm over the digital push goes, that too seems to be a bit of a distance away. In New Jersey, Sunanda Jayasila.